Her message lit up my phone at 2:14 a.m., a single line, a mistake, probably meant for someone else. He signed the draft. After the divorce, the 75% returns to me. We move forward. No name, no explanation, just a quiet death sentence delivered through pixels. I stared at it for a long time, my pulse steady, too steady. 12 years of supporting her, advising her, building the very foundation of her billion-dollar empire, and she was planning to step over me like a discarded brick. I didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't wake her. She slept beside me, her back turned, her breathing slow and innocent, the kind of sleep only someone with a secure future enjoys. I watched the rise and fall of her shoulder and felt something old, something dormant, stretch awake inside me. Not rage, not heartbreak, clarity. A cold, precise awareness that something had shifted forever. I replayed the message, imagining the conversation it belonged to. Imagining the he she referred to. Imagining the plan she thought was airtight. My hands didn't shake, my throat didn't tighten. Instead, I felt an odd calm settle across my skin, like the moment before a scalpel makes its first incision. The truth had brushed against me in the dark, and I knew I wouldn't sleep again. Not until I understood everything, not until I decided what to do with it. Morning arrived decorated in her usual lies, a soft kiss on my cheek, a warm smile. Coffee prepared the way I liked it. She played her part flawlessly. I studied her face with a new lens. How long had she been rehearsing this performance? How many mornings had she poured me coffee with one hand while signing my erasure with the other? She talked about meetings, committees, expansions. I nodded, pretending to listen, pretending not to know. Her phone buzzed twice. She flipped it over, screen down, something she never used to do. That was the moment denial slipped away completely. Because habits don't break themselves. People break them when they're hiding something. The emotional betrayal was subtle at first. She had become distant, guarded, too polished around me. I thought it was stress. I thought success had reshaped her into something colder. But no, it was planning. The realization hit like ice inside my ribs. She didn't just want to leave me, she wanted to strip me out of her story, reclaim the patent I created, and quietly execute the man who built the blueprint of her empire. A 12-year erasure. I smiled at her as she talked, my expression calm. She believed the marriage was still intact enough that I wouldn't suspect anything. She was brilliant, but brilliance bred arrogance, and arrogance leaves fingerprints. The message, the secrecy, the way she avoided meeting my eyes, tiny fractures forming a single truth. My wife was preparing to discard me the moment it benefited her most. The shock wasn't sharp. It was slow, patient, like a frost creeping across a window. I sat across from her and realized something terrifying. She thought she was playing chess, but she had forgotten who built the board. I began quietly. No confrontations, no accusations, no change in routine. I simply watched her. Her calls grew longer, her smiles shorter, her affection rehearsed. At night, while she showered, I scanned her cloud backups. Meetings with lawyers, draft agreements, projected valuations, after my patent returned to sole ownership. Her entire future had been drawn without me. And the man she messaged? A major competitor, one who had been chasing my patent for years. I ordered a transcript of our shared business accounts. Her company was shifting assets subtly, preparing for a liquidity move after the divorce. Smart, predictable. She underestimated me. Inside, something simmered. Not pain, not fury, but a cold fascination. The kind a surgeon feels while studying a particularly complex tumor. I reviewed the legal structure she had built, the loopholes she thought she'd closed, the ones she didn't even know were open. I contacted an old colleague, the only person who understood the value of my patent better than she did. We met in a quiet, empty bar. His eyes widened when I showed him the documentation, the impending divorce filings, her plan to regain majority control. "Sell it to us," he said. "Full stake, immediate transfer, before she moves." I nodded once. No emotion, just decision. It took 3 days to assemble the documents, 1 hour to sign them. My signature severed the artery feeding her company's dominance. 75%? Gone. Legally airtight. Irreversible. I walked out of the attorney's office feeling weightless. Not triumphant, not vindicated, just free. When I returned home, she greeted me with a soft, scripted warmth. The same warmth she used on investors. All I could think was how strange it was that she didn't know she was already bleeding. The evidence arrived the next morning. Her filed divorce petition, time-stamped 7:42 a.m. Efficient, clinical, exactly her style. She placed it on the table between us as if offering me a polite business proposal. "I think it's time," she whispered. I looked at the folder, then at her. "Are you sure?" I asked quietly. She hesitated, a flicker of guilt, maybe, or fear, but quickly buried it beneath her well-trained composure. "Yes." I slid a single document across the table in return. The transfer confirmation, the sale agreement. Her eyes moved across the page, then froze. "No," she whispered. It wasn't denial. It was dread. "You sold it?" Her voice cracked, fragile, a rare unguarded sound. I didn't speak, I didn't comfort, I simply watched clarity break her apart from the inside. She flipped pages frantically. 75%? To them? You sold it to them? Her breathing changed, uneven, panicked. I remained silent, perfectly calm, as if observing a distant storm. She looked up at me, eyes wet, face pale. "Why would you do this?" I leaned back in my chair, hands folded. "I assumed," I said softly, "you wanted to move forward." The truth detonated inside her. She collapsed into the chair opposite me, clutching the divorce papers as if they could reverse what she had set in motion. But they couldn't. Nothing could. She begged, soft at first, then frantic. "You don't understand. This ruins me. My board will destroy me. The merger, everything collapses without that patent." I watched her unravel, strand by strand. "You planned to erase me," I said, calm, measured, almost gentle. "No, listen, it wasn't like that." She reached for my hand. I moved it away, slowly. The small motion shattered her composure. Her voice cracked like thin ice. "I can fix this. We can undo it. Please, please don't walk away." But I already had. The moment she hit send on that message, she severed something she never understood. I stood, gathering the documents she'd given me, the divorce papers she expected would gut me. "I'll sign these," I said quietly, "but not because you planned it." Her breath hitched. "Then why?" I met her eyes, those same eyes that had once looked at me with ambition instead of calculation. "Because now," I whispered, "I don't owe you anything." It was the cleanest cut I'd ever made, and the deepest she'd ever felt. She reached for me again, but her hand hung in the air, trembling, suspended between who she thought I was and who I had become. I walked past her without looking back. Her sobs followed me down the hallway, soft, collapsing sounds of a woman who finally realized she had been outplayed at her own game. I packed slowly, not because I was sentimental, because I didn't feel anything at all. 12 years compressed into a single, clean silence. I left the ring on the kitchen counter beside the divorce papers she had drafted with such confidence. She sat there still, hollow, staring at the transfer document as if it were a death certificate. Maybe it was. Not for her company, not for her future, but for the version of herself that believed she could manipulate me, control me, own me. As I stepped outside, the morning air felt sharper, lighter. Freedom has a sound, quiet, final. I didn't look back at the house. at her, at anything we built. Some truths don't require witnesses. Some endings don't need applause. Walking away was not the victory. Knowing she would spend the rest of her life living inside the consequences of her own deception, that was enough. I closed the gate behind me, hands steady, breath calm. The world felt clean again, empty in the right ways. And as the sun crawled over the horizon, I realized something with brutal clarity. She had planned to take everything from me. Instead, she taught me how to let go. And that was the moment I finally did.